Welcome back to another short edition of Meet the Author with the Appalachian Authors Guild. I'm JC, and we have Jason Houghton, a board member here today. Jason, how you doing?
Nice, nice to see you today, JC. I hope you're doing well.
So I'm doing great. So we're all snowed in or frozen in, whatever we want to call it here in Central Appalachia. I want to get the board member, the members of our guild, to, as they're watching these videos, get to know the board members a little bit. Now, you're in Abingdon, Virginia, and you're the author of 18 Fools, but you've been a board member and a member of the guild for a little while. Give us a little bit of your background. You're not from the area, but you moved here several years ago.
Uh, Correct. I was born and raised in Northeast Ohio. Um, uh, uh, Cleveland Brown country. In one day, we're going to have a winning team, is what we all tend to believe, and that helps you learn how to write fiction, believing in that. Um, I joined the military when I was 20. Um, Got to see a lot of the world, and ended up getting out in North Carolina, spent some time there. My son stayed there until my son turned 18 and graduated high school. Uh, I met and fell in love with an Appalachian girl, and I moved to her location in 2019 and never looked back. Um, as far as writing goes, I've always been one to write down little short stories, even if nothing for myself. Uh, 18 Fools is an example where someone challenged me to write a short story uh, based on a current situation that we were in when I was stationed in Korea and we had some downtime. And I turned it into the first draft of that. Uh, and I something about that story just resonated to me. And years later, I wanted to pick it back up and redo it a better, more fulfilling way and give Fracas the dragon a fighting chance and a little bit more personality than just the big bad villain that they all go after.
Now, your book, 18 Fools, I'm going to read the description here on Amazon for people if they want to look it up because it's on Kindle and paperback. And actually, um, got quite a few good reviews on this too. Elia desperately needs to escape Arborwick. The land offers nothing but torment and servitude. Now, carrying the child of the Duke, she faces a lifetime under his control. Will she play the role that fate decided? Will her existence forever be linked to the man she despises with every breath? Or will she fight? Luckily, she was born with cunning, but will that be enough? Fracas, the dragon in the story, is sure he is the last of the dragon kind. Once rulers of lands known and unknown, his species is now regulated to the world of myths, or relegated. I'm sorry, I'm reading wrong. To the world of myths, legends, and bedtime stories. Generation after generation of men hunting dragons has thinned the numbers. Fracas has been forced to hide in the frozen mountains north of Arborwick. Now being evicted from that home, he heads south, carrying with him the burden of his entire species' survival. Speaking of frozen mountains, that's kind of what we're all in right now. This
Yeah,
being the end of January and this big snowstorm. Now, I would kind of ask you as far as your first book there. I know you're working on a couple others. You've actually finished rough drafts of those, so you got some things on the shelf coming down the road. But we when you joined the guild, I guess what was your expectations when you looked at joining a guild versus kind of things after being a member, now being a board member with all the workshops that we do and the evening zooms that we do? How did that kind of come about?
well, when I first started this writing journey was quite honestly when I got diagnosed with MS. I started really buckling down with becoming a serious writer because I couldn't do a standard job anymore. It just wasn't feasible. And I started picking up things here and there. So when I moved to the area, I wanted to continue my self education and seek out anything that would help push me along my journey. The guild at first had offered some of those classes, but later I also found out it offered me a chance to for, for people uh, fighting the same fights that I was going through, struggling through the same process of telling a good story, putting good work out there, and when you're teaching yourself anything, you pick up bits and pieces of knowledge where you can. Well, other people doing that are gathering and contributing different pieces. So we have a brotherhood where it's an exchange, and we also have a mentorship thing going on where we help each other, and at the same time, we're giving off the information we we gathered in the journey. If
It's
that
nice
makes
to.
sense.
It does, and it's nice to have other writers as you get to know, and you know, a lot of people become friends when they show up these in person and Zoom and kind of talk on a regular basis. It's kind of nice to have people that hold you accountable, you know, because I have a tendency to be a little lazy. I don't know about you, but sometimes I'll go 2 or 3 days, or it's like that weekly writing prompt that I do with some people. It's like, it's that time again. I better hurry, and then I'm late. But you always feel that obligation because you're counting on somebody else because you want to read something they wrote, and now they're kind of counting on you. So it's nice to have that kind of camaraderie inside the guild, and the
It does,
workshops are really helpful.
and it also I'm trying to write to your guys' level. I want one of the reasons that a lot of my things stay in draft a lot of my projects stay in draft as long as they do. I have uh, the work of Mr. Alderwood here and Linda, the two Lindas, Linda Hopkins and Linda Hoagland. Their work are they're up there. Even our newcomers, Peggy, some of her stuff is pretty incredible, and I want my work to emulate that level of writing and storytelling.
And for those who haven't read 18 Fools, it's a great story. I mean, you're an incredible storyteller. I'll say this: I've had the privilege of reading some of the stuff you've written that people haven't seen yet. So I see, that story arc is really good. And the thing you mentioned, even though I started writing in like 1999, 2000, um, people who are new to the guild or new to writing, like you can learn something from anybody, no matter where they're at on their journey, that fits a piece of the puzzle you're trying to build. And I think that's pretty neat, and just the range of what people write from poetry to essays, nonfiction, um, historical fiction, horror, sci-fi. I mean, all this stuff that rolls in, even romantic stuff, children's books, everything. You can always find a piece of somebody else's puzzle to fit into yours, and kind of add something to the repertoire. And I really can't wait for you to get those other books out there because I think those stories are so very good, and the story arc and the character arc. So when you're happy with it, which I think is a lot of it's really so great anyway. But that's the thing when you're putting something out there, you have to be you're happy with it first and foremost, not necessarily a reader trying to keep up to anybody's standards. Because after a while, when you develop a story arc or a character arc, people are going to be looking at you, and they kind of do now. Like some of the stuff that I write now, I look at the story arc of what you did in with Bessian, that story with the coffee shop and the older
Strange
gentleman going
Brew.
overseas. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, how do you build a story arc like so? So you learn from people, and at some point, it's not anybody else's standard; it's your standard. Because I mean, I look up to like F. Scott Fitzgerald, Stephen King, some of these big, great names. Well, if I never sold a book, I don't want to, but I'm never going to live up to that. So it's kind of unrealistic, I guess. But
Now, one of the things we have talked about in our evening Zoom meetings that the guild also does is these characters, and it's alluding to what you're talking about. These characters become real in the writer's mind, and you want them to become real in the reader's mind. So you want to do them justice. You want the story and their struggle to do justice. You want
yeah,
their arc to be realistic, and you want people to find a reason to cheer them on, but also a reason to find themselves in the character.
Yeah, that's a
And
mark of a good character. Yeah, we've talked
and
about that character arc specifically. Actually, you led the discussion on that one in the past year.
and that's one of the things the guild does offer. Being part of the guild does offer. It offers different insight to different ways of looking at your writing. Some people have brought up the idea of writing the ending first, and I believe that was one of your suggestions in one of the meetings, and how you go about doing that and building back from there. Uh, the guild brings up ideas, new ideas, and I highly encourage anybody who's on the fence about joining to join, attend a meeting or two. It doesn't have to become your life. You don't have to become a board member, but there's something for everybody.
Yeah, so even if you're a casual writer or someone takes it very, very seriously, and it's fun. So you have opportunity not just in person, but evening Zooms and to take advantage of those things. And we just put out, you and I put together our list of monthly meetings and the topics. So that goes out into the tidings first of the month, and all the guild members will get that. So you'll see our itinerary for the year. And if there's a particular one you want to jump on, um, let us know, and you'll get the link. So, Jason, it's been a fun couple of years here working with you in the guild anyway. Look forward to the next few. I mean, we make it fun, if nothing else, right?
That is very true. We do
Yeah.
have fun if nothing else.
And for those members, or if you're a prospective member wanting to join the Appalachian Authors Guild, keep in mind that we're now a 501c3. So you know, uh, any check you write, it's potentially deductible on your taxes. So what's it cost you in the end anyway? Nothing, but you might make some good friends. Jason, anything else you want to add before we close down for the day?
I I appreciate the opportunity to get in front of the camera and talk to you about this. I do have more stuff coming down the line. I highly encourage anybody who wants to know what our writing's about to pick up one of the anthologies that we put out. Uh, I wish it could include the last short story I wrote, but that is owned by the state uh, writing writing club. So
Yeah, the Virginia Writers Club. Yeah,
yeah,
you put one in for the Golden Nib, the annual
yeah.
contest here with Virginia Writing Guilds. So there's all kinds of things like that we do. So yeah, thanks again. I look forward to it. Like I said, I look forward to it again. Thanks again for all you've done for the guild, and I'll see you on the next evening Zoom here coming up in a couple of weeks. And um, I guess we have another in-person meeting second Tuesday of every month. So we got one coming in February. That'll be a good workshop with Stephen James at the small business incubator there in Abingdon, and then the following month, I get to run my mouth a little bit at Fiddlers, I guess is where we're going to be at, and I'll be talking about Appalachian folklore and turning that folklore into like your modern writing style, instead of writing in the old way, how to transition old folk stories into modern stories to tell the same message and deliver the same themes and morals, I should say. So we'll do that over some chicken. But thanks again, everybody, for joining us. And Jason, you're on Amazon.
Currently on Amazon, yes, sir.
All right, Jason Houghton with the Appalachian Authors Guild. Thanks again, and we'll see you on
Thank
the
you, sir.
on down the road.